In this video, you will learn the 5 steps that will make a man worship you. So if you're dating a man who isn't making you a priority or showing you the love you deserve, then this is the video for you. Don't go anywhere because we're starting right now. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Antonio Borrello and I'm a psychologist and a relationship coach. This channel is all about helping you build great relationships so you can grow happy with the people you love. So if you're interested in making your love life the best part of your life, start now by clicking the subscribe button and hit the bell notification so you aren't missing anything. Okay, how to make him worship you. There are a few situations when you might need some help turning things around and making a man worship you like never before. The first is when you've been in a relationship with a man for some time, but now things have changed. He's different. He's not into you like he was in the beginning, and so you worry that he might be slipping away or that he's taking you for granted. So you want things to go back to the way they used to be. The second is a newer dating situation. Perhaps you've just started dating and you really like a man, but you aren't sure if he's really into you. He's not consistent. He's not moving the relationship forward or pursuing you. In other words, you've been getting mixed signals and you feel like you're the one chasing him and you're pursuing him and you're worried that he could pull away and ghost you at any time. As you know, both of these situations are incredibly frustrating and difficult to deal with. So it's natural to want to do something to make him want you like never before. Unfortunately, the things you do to bring him close again, like trying to see him more and asking him what's wrong, will actually push him further away. And the harder you try, the worse things seem to be. In other words, when you feel him pulling away, you put more effort into the relationship and increase the level of attention, affection, and concern for him. Because of course, you don't want to lose him. And this is actually making things worse for you and for him. That's because you are the one putting in all of the energy and the effort. You are doing the pursuing. You are leaning forward while he is still retreating. And you are doing all of the investment into the relationship. And with most men, this simply doesn't work. So instead, I want you to change your focus and do these 5 steps, and I promise you will turn things around for good. Number 1, practice self-love. Self-love is a term that you often see thrown around self-help articles and books. It's a beautiful term that people talk about, but no one really explains what it means to love yourself and how to go about getting there. I mean, it's generally accepted that in order to receive the love that you deserve, you must first love yourself. And of course, I totally agree with this statement. But I'm also going to explain why it's so important, and I'll tell you very specific ways that self-love makes you a high-value woman who is appreciated and loved and even worshipped. Look, many dating and relationship advice videos give you a lot of theory and ideas of how things could be or should be. That's great, but in order to make changes, you sometimes need very specific step-by-step instructions on the how and the why. You know, the specific and the concrete things you need to do to make lasting change. So I'll give you a brief intro here, but at the end of this video, I'm going to point and link to another video, another YouTube video that I made that goes way more in depth on how to practice self-love and why it ensures you have the loving relationship you want. So please watch that one right after this one. It's really important. Okay, so we know that loving yourself is the first step to having an amazing relationship where a man is completely in love with you. But how do you get there? Well, keep watching and grab a pen because this is how you do it. First, you start by committing to becoming your own best friend and developing an appreciation of yourself and being grateful for your blessings. But know this, acquaintances don't become best friends overnight. Instead, they spend alone time together and cultivate their relationship through honest communication and sharing. And the same is true for becoming your own best friend. You must spend quiet time getting to know yourself through self-reflection and introspection. So make it a priority every day to spend 10 to 15 minutes in solitude where you simply think about yourself and your life and all that you are grateful for. Get yourself a notebook and begin writing your thoughts and journaling during this time. And don't skip this one. Make that time for yourself. The second step, spend time doing things alone. As you journal, develop a list of activities that you can enjoy doing alone. These solo activities can be hobbies such as exercising or reading and writing or listening to great music or meditating or engaging in the fine arts. Practicing these hobbies will help you to appreciate your own company and deepen your understanding of yourself and help you to cultivate self-love. And number 3, the third step is to practice acceptance and forgiveness. Best friends really listen to one another and offer the safety of trust as they share their true thoughts and feelings. So practice talking to yourself as you would talk to a best friend when you're struggling or upset about a situation. Think about the words that you would say to your best friend and then say them to yourself. Look, I know this first step doesn't seem to be directly related to getting him to worship you, but trust me, I'm going to explain why it's super important and makes your relationships great. It's a step that takes time and effort, but more than anything, it is life-changing. And I don't say that lightly. It's a practice that you should always engage in from now until forever. Number 2, prioritize you and be a high-value woman. Well, how do you do that? The answer is pretty simple. Be yourself and make yourself a priority and demonstrate that you are a high-value woman. Start by taking the attention off of him and put it back onto yourself. Cultivate your own rich life, one that he would be fortunate to be part of. Take care of yourself and do the things that you like to do. Make plans to do things for you each and every week and grow and enrich your relationships with your friends and your family. And continue to engage in the practice of self-love. And when you do, you become a woman who exudes inner confidence and high self-esteem. You become a woman that knows that she has choices when it comes to men. Instead of acting from a place of fear and control and scarcity and treating him as if he was your last chance at love. Instead, let him win your affection and love. Remember, he's got to know how full and complete your life is. And if he becomes part of it, it's because you want him to be a part of it, not because you need him to be a part of it. And believe me, when you prioritize your life, he's going to take notice and your value in his eyes will go up, and so will the challenge. So he'll be wanting you more than ever. Number 3, allow him to pursue you. That means that you have to stop pursuing him. That means that you have to stop texting him between dates. That means that you cannot be initiating communications with him. Instead, you must let him do it. Look, I know that this is a difficult one to do because you like him, you miss him, and you want to talk to him. It's hard not to reach out because you want to be connected and communicating. But if you want a man to really worship you, you must pull away and allow him to miss you. Allow him to pursue you. He's a man and he needs to do that. So do not initiate calls or texts to him. Notice I didn't say ignore him or stop communicating. I'm saying stop being the one that's always looking for him and starting communications. In other words, you're not the one who's going to be starting the day with a good morning call or text. Instead, let him do it. Eventually, he'll recognize the difference and wonder why you've suddenly gone silent on him. Let him feel a little down and realize he was happier when things were different. Your silence will speak volumes and he will usually start to pursue you again quickly. Oh, and make him wait before you return his calls and texts. I understand the urge to respond back immediately, especially if you've been waiting to hear from him for a while, but taking some time before responding to his contact sends the message that you are busy and not just sitting by your phone waiting for him to reach out. Have patience and take your time before responding. Doing so will certainly increase his yearning for you. Number 4, you are the prize, so don't seek reassurance. It's normal to want to know how your significant other feels about you. However, constantly asking them is not the way to go about it. Do you love me? How much do you love me? Are you sure? You can't look for his words to assure you of your value, because when you do, it becomes overbearing for him and will likely lead to the demise of your relationship. But most of all, it shows him that you're insecure, and that lowers your value in his eyes and becomes a huge disadvantage. It shows him that you are afraid of losing him, and then you are no longer the prize. You are no longer the challenge. Again, you just lowered your value. Remember, looking to our partner to reassure us when we're feeling insecure only leads to more insecurity. These attitudes come from within us, and unless we can overcome them within ourselves, it won't matter how smart or sexy or worthy or attractive he says you are. No matter what, we must strive to feel okay within ourselves. And again, that takes us back to the importance of self-love and being a high-value woman. Number 5, set your standards high by using the best friend test. As you begin any new relationship, you are likely to be confronted with unforeseen situations that make you feel uneasy. Oftentimes, these uneasy situations happen when a man is not living up to your expectations or standards that you've set for yourself. For example, maybe you set standards for when you want to have sex with a man, or how you expect to be treated on a date. You probably have standards about being on time, about doing what you say you're going to do, and so on. These should be non-negotiable minimal standards of respect and consideration regarding his interactions with you. For example, let's say a man invites you on a date for a Saturday night, and the same day he texts you to confirm that you are meeting at a particular restaurant at 7 p.m. So you show up at the restaurant at 6:57 and he's nowhere to be found. In fact, he doesn't show up until 7:18 and did not take a moment to let you know that he was running late. And when he arrives, he makes no mention of the fact that he is late. This is an example of a situation that might make you feel uneasy. And when you are unsure of how to respond to this type of situation, you can use the best friend test to help you make a decision. The best friend test is a simple test where you imagine how you would support a best friend in the same situation. Think about your best friend and imagine that they're struggling and stuck in the same situation that you are faced with. What would you say to her? How would you advise or support her? Then say these same things to yourself and act on the situation. So in this case, if a man shows up 20 minutes late without an apology, let alone an explanation or a courtesy text, you'd probably tell your best friend to let him know that your time is valuable and next time you're going to be late, you would appreciate a text so that you can make other plans. And if he does the same thing again, you'll leave him. Look, I know it can be difficult to keep our standards high when we really like a person. It's like everything goes out the window. That's why you must resist the urge to use self-justification or ignore what your best friend would advise. Make the decision and then act on it. Using this test along with a promise to act as your own best friend will drastically reduce the possibility of entering into unhealthy relationships or situations. And let me tell you why. Because when you love yourself and when you are a high value woman, you keep your standards high and you are not willing to accept less than you deserve. So if a man isn't meeting your standards, if a man isn't treating you right, if a man isn't meeting your needs, you are willing to walk away. You cannot lie to yourself or bargain with yourself that although he isn't really what you are looking for, he will change or things will get better. Believe me, they won't. And if anything, they'll only get worse. But when he knows that you aren't willing to settle, that you aren't going to tolerate behaviors or actions of his that you don't agree with, he is going to step up his game and step up to the challenge. But he will only experience this if he knows that you are willing and able to walk away from something that isn't right for you. Look, these tips are all rooted in being the best version of yourself and loving yourself. They're all about respecting yourself and your life, and they are designed to help him recognize your value and remember the person he fell in love with. And yes, they do work. But again, practicing self-love and learning to love yourself is something that takes time. I made another video where I go into way more detail about how to practice self-love. Click here to watch that video now, or click here to watch a video that YouTube thinks you'll like. And please subscribe to continue getting videos that will help you build great relationships and grow happy together. I'll see you in the next video.